Hello there. I'm Trevor, and in this episode of Somewhere in the Middle, I'm at the New Beverly Cinema to catch Robin Hood 1973 on print in a theater. I'm really excited to see it on a big screen. So why don't you come along with me as I take you inside the New Beverly Cinema to see Robin Hood 1973 and IB Tech print. Let's go. All right, so I'm back in my classroom, as you can tell. So oodalali, what a day was that. What a great experience it was. And to get to a theater that I've been going to, going all the way back to like probably about 2009. I've been frequenting the New Beverly pretty regularly. Pre-COVID, I was there all the time. Post-COVID, not so much. I really, to be honest, I'm struggling to remember what movie it was that I was there last to see beyond this 1973 Robin Hood. And I know that me and some friends did go see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood there at the New Bev in order to see it on film. And of course, the New Beverly is Quentin Tarantino's theater, right? So giving you guys some history here, in 1978, it debuted its double programming. They would show a wide variety of genre films, all on 35 millimeter film. And one thing about the New Beverly was always the double feature. When you go, you pay one price to see two movies. Now there are midnight screenings as well as what we went to, a Saturday matinee screening that does not include two movies. This Saturday morning matinee is just one movie. In about 2007, Quentin Tarantino bought the New Beverly Cinema from the Torgan family. And he kept the son of the owner, the original owner, involved. He basically ran the theater day-to-day operations. And that maintained that way, still doing the double feature, 35 millimeter, etc. That stayed that way until about 2014. And then in 2014, Quentin stepped in and took over all programming, mostly because Michael Torgan installed a digital projector.
What?
And Quentin was like, this is not what this place is. It will always be film. We're not going to move to digital. So he went and pulled out that digital. It closed for a minute and then came back. And it's been open since then. Obviously, during COVID, there was some time that it was down and now it's reopened again. But yeah, so there's a brief background. And of course, Quentin Tarantino owning the New Beverly. Something if you want to see Quentin Tarantino's movies, he shows them all depending the month at midnights. So all of his films, Pulp Fiction, The Hateful Eight, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I don't know if they're doing that at midnight. That seems crazy. Jackie Brown, Reservoir Dogs, Django Unchained, any of his movies, Inglourious Basterds, they all play at midnight various months throughout the year. Quentin prides himself on the fact that everything you see there is on film, whether it be 35 millimeter, 16 millimeter, or what I got to see in this event, which was something very exciting for me, an IB Tech print. So let's talk about that. IB Tech print. I didn't even know what the hell an IB Tech print was. I saw IB Tech print and I was like, what's that? I need to look this up. IB Tech print ties into the concept of using color. So these were film prints that had a higher saturation of color so that the color would last. It was a more expensive process. It faded out in the 1970s. Regardless of that, I'm getting a chance to see Robin Hood 1973 on an IB Tech print at the New Beverly. And oh, by the way, this is my first time seeing this movie in a theater. Robin Hood has been one of my all-time favorite cartoons. It's not my tippy top. My tippy top is absolutely The Rescuers, hands down. But the Robin Hood has always been one of those ones. It's cheeky, it's funny. I love all the characters. I always thought it was funny that like and I didn't really connect it as a kid, but that Baloo and Little John looked like the same guy. It was like one's brown, one's gray, but it's the same drawing. You know, Prince John is hysterical. He gets all the laughs. Yeah, I was extremely excited with the opportunity to get to see Robin Hood 1973 in a theater on film and get to see all of its imperfections and whatnot. There's something to that. There's a movie print feels alive.
It's alive!
You know, a digital print doesn't necessarily feel alive to me. It's the same. It's 4K. It's perfect. It looks the way it's supposed to look. Film print has imperfections. There's scrapes. There's cuts. Audio go out. The color may fade. And while that might not deliver the most perfect version of the film, other audiences have seen that, and that history for me matters. I like seeing that in that sense. I like that there is this, like, I don't know, historical factor to it, that again, you can see its imperfections, its scrapes, its bruises, its things, its scars.
Precisely.
They're there, and someone else experienced those same scars. You watch a digital cut, it looks the same no matter what. Where are you watching, on an iPhone or a movie screen? It's still projected the same way. And I think there's something too about watching it on film that the New Beverly knows and celebrates for anybody that wants to enjoy that. So when I saw that the New Beverly had this program for this month, and that I had an opportunity to see Walt Disney's, well, maybe not Walt Disney's, but Walt Disney had passed before this movie had come out. The movie before it, The Aristocrats, was the last movie that he had his hands on, right? So this is technically the first movie that released without Walt Disney having anything to do with it. The fact that I had an opportunity to see this in a theater, there was no way I was passing it up. And it was also really exciting because I get to bring my daughter, who had actually never seen this movie. I was, when she told me I've never seen this, I was like, what? Are you serious? My daughter's 18 years old and I've never shown you this? Wow. I was, again, kind of like blown away in that sense that I had not shown her this movie. So let's talk about the print. Let's talk about this, seeing it. This IB Tech print was perfect. Maybe perfect is exaggerated. There was a couple hiccups here and there. There were a couple imperfections. Like, for instance, in between reel 6 and 7, you could tell that audio was missing. There's a sequence missing, and that's probably from splicing, right? The art of projecting a movie is different today than it was in the past. A film projectionist actually had to splice reels together. Generally, there are 7 reels in a movie, and they have to splice those together. This is an art. This is a craft that people actually learned. It was a trade. Pushing play on a digital movie is not the same, right? And you could tell a couple of those imperfections, but the color was perfect. That IB Tech print really, really maintained its color. And in contrast, which was interesting, we saw a few trailers. The New Beverly always programs content that matches what you're seeing. So for instance, we're watching Robin Hood, Disney. We got to see a cartoon of Bugs Bunny Robin Hood. We saw an ad for Walt Disney World. We also saw 3 trailers for Walt Disney movies. We saw Pinocchio trailer, the Aristocrats trailer, and the Rescuers trailer. Those 3, well, no, Pinocchio and Aristocrats had this like red, the RGB red had really bled through, and the degradation of that film looked bad. And initially you were like, oh no, is this what this IB Tech print was gonna look like? No, the colors were rich and vibrant. And getting to see it in a theater in that setting with a full crowd was absolutely fantastic. The New Beverly is a smaller theater. It's a single screen movie house. It seats about 228 people. And this Saturday matinee was by and large almost completely full, which was really cool. You had young and old there. Let's talk a little bit more about the crowd. It was really a blast to see all of these people that were there, again, to see a film print of Disney's Robin Hood. You know, those parents could have watched this at home on Disney Plus or just told their kid, watch it this way. But this is different. This is special. And again, seeing those imperfections in the film print, that's history. I don't know. There's just something to that. It feels more permanent than just watching it on Disney Plus. I hope some of the kids that saw it there in the theater went home and watched it again on Disney Plus. I know I put it on often to fall asleep to. Some cool Robin Hood facts that I think would be fun to talk a little bit about. One, this is the first Disney movie that started to reuse animation cells, right? Maid Marian's dance in the movie is mirrored to Snow White's dance in the 1938 classic.
King Richard leads the great crusade he's on. We'll all have to slave away for that good-for-nothing John.
Baloo and King Louie's dance in the Jungle Book is mirrored to Madame Cluck and Little John's dance in this. The Aristocrats, Everybody Wants to Be a Cat song is reused, not the song, but the animation is reused here for the phony King of England. And, you know, I guess in some sense, it was used to cut costs, so maybe people would nitpick that. But at the same point in time, it kind of created these Easter eggs of being able to, like, over time, as these movies were released on VHS and Betamax and Laserdisc and later DVD and whatnot, people rewatched them and rewatched them and rewatched them and caught that, oh my gosh, look at what Disney had done. Look at this whole thing. And I feel like that's really neat.
Pretty neat, huh?
Another cool factor that this is the very first time that Disney, Walt Disney, any of their animation movies had solely animated animals. Everything prior to this had humans and animals, etc. This was all animals. That's it. And I've heard it referenced that Zootopia was like the guy who created Zootopia thought about this movie. You know, the fact that everyone's played by an animal, essentially. Also, to that point, there are rumors that they are going to make a live action remake of this, a CGI live action remake like we've seen with so many other Disney movies. On the downside, I hear it's going straight to Disney Plus. I don't like that. I've also know that when it was first announced, the guy who was behind directing is no longer with Disney. So at this point, that one's kind of in limbo and to be dated. But it is confirmed that they had someone writing a script. They had a director involved. I just don't know how far along that process really got and if and when we'll see a live action remake of Robin Hood. I would say though that like it's ripe for a remake. A friend, as we came out and I were talking about it, and he was mentioning names that he could see playing various characters. And again, I think this one could really lend into being padded out because the original movie is so simple, and it just kind of has these very simple story beats in it with some music told, and you could pad that out and really make it, as well as make it relevant to today with a king that wants to overtax people and people that are needing help and needing welfare. You know, I personally, watching this movie, were making connections in my head that like, I've always been like that. I've always thought about empathy and caring for other people or helping other people. And I wonder like how rooted it is in my two favorite Disney movies are The Rescuers and Robin Hood, both which believe in help people. Like that's the whole concept of those movies is helping people, is our moral fables of that. So I don't know. I think that's fascinating and kind of interesting in the fact that that's there. And I've kind of maintained that in that sense. Thanks for watching this episode. I hope you enjoyed as I took you along to the new Beverly Cinema and gave you my reactions to seeing 1973 Walt Disney classic or Disney animation classic, Robin Hood, on an IB Tech print at the New Beverly. It was a lot of fun to go. I had an oodalolly of a time with my family and friends at the New Bev, as I always do. So again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode. Auf Wiedersehen.